But before I get into that, I'm going to show you some photos, and then after the photos are all done, I'm going to see who has some answers for me, okay? So let me get to that point. I got a few blank slides here. So my question is this, who can tell me what all those people have in common? They're what? Impersonators. They're impersonators? Fake? These are actually all impersonators. Very good. You got it perfect. Every single one of these is just an actual actor or somebody who dresses up the part to look like somebody. Which in this case, most of the time, they're doing it for fun purposes. They're going out on a show or on the street corner or something like that in order to have fun. In fact, two of these impersonators might even go one step farther. I'm not sure if you can catch it, but our Brittany and Cher, they are real impersonators because these are actually both men. How many knew that? I'm sure a few of you did. Really? Only one or two of you?
Brittany.
I'm actually surprised. So the idea of doing impersonation can be a lot of fun. The problem is impersonation has a lot of different forms. There's fun impersonation, and then there's dangerous impersonation. If somebody wants to take and impersonate you by getting your information, your username, your credit card, and all that, that can become really problematic. And so there's good and bad impersonations. Now, before I get into the rest of my presentation, I've got one more challenge. I'm going to show you 6 images of somebody, and I'm going to see who can identify the imposter. Who can identify the imposter here? Anyone have an answer? Which one?
Is it the one with the tongue?
One at the top. No.
Bottom.
Anyone else? Yes?
Bottom middle.
Bottom middle? Well, actually, you're both right because they're all imposters. Well, that's just my personal opinion. So, let's get into Advanced WAF. And I have exactly 31 minutes. So I have 31 minutes to explain to you guys an entire new product line, which I'm not going to be able to get through all of that. This has been a new product for me, just like all of you, and I've got a lot of experience in the WAF side of things. So I'm still learning just like you guys are. And so my goal today is to just sort of get some of the myths out of the way and get some clarity on really what this advanced WAF means. And I think for me, one of the first things I was wondering to myself actually is, okay, well first off, before we get to that, we have ASM and we have WAF. Now, what does ASM stand for? Somebody? Raise your hand. ASM, you guys should know this.
Application security.
Go ahead.
Application security.
Okay, what does WAF stand for? All right, so what is ASM and what is WAF? How is one compared to the other, and so forth? So, question for you, who can answer this? What is this? Raise your hand, what is that on the screen? Raise your hand. Loud?
Kleenex.
Kleenex! No, it's not. It's not Kleenex, it's Puffs. Why did you call it Kleenex?
It's the brand name.
Kleenex is the brand name. Why do we just assume that every piece of tissue is Kleenex when it's not? So the brand itself is Puffs. What the concept is, what it is Kleenex. Our brand is ASM. What ASM is a WAF. So WAF is the tissue, and ASM is the Puffs. So ASM is a WAF, and it already has been a WAF. It's been a WAF for a long time. In fact, you guys probably already know that ASM, as a WAF, has already reached the top of the magic quadrant for web application firewalls. This is great. We're the leader. We're already the leader. So if you're already the best in breed, what more can you hope for? What more can you hope for if you're the best in breed?
Best of show. Best of show.
You hope to be the best in show. Very good. So, about a year ago and beyond, from a year ago and so forth, we would go out and we would tell people, hey, let me show you a WAF. This is our best in breed. We are the best in breed. But now, today, stories changed a little bit in 2018. Now we're going to say, hey, let me show you a WAF. That's Advanced WAF. But now a WAF is the best in show. Very exciting, right? It doesn't seem like it in this room. Very exciting, right? So before I get into any further details or anything like that, I like to throw a disclaimer out there. I am not a salesperson. Okay, I'm in sales. I've been in sales for a long time, but I am not a salesperson. In truth, salespeople kind of make me cringe. So you're not going to hear from me today. You're not going to hear all the little sales techniques and sales strategies and all that. You can get that from other people who are more able to kind of share with you how to sell this. What I want to do is I want to kind of explain it to you in a semi-technical way. Before I do that, what I would like you all to do is I'd like you to look at one of your favorite coworkers. Look at one of your favorite coworkers, whether they're sitting next to you or not.
You're my favorite.
Look at one of your favorite coworkers. And I'd like you to think to yourself right now, what is something that you have no problem sharing with your coworker? Something you would share without any question asked. Somebody raise your hand and tell me, Carrie.
Oh, well,
What would you share with your coworker?
it's not something I feel comfortable sharing at this moment.
Here, whisper to me. Okay, I'm really curious I'll have to ask you later what you're comfortable with sharing with a coworker, but not with the rest of us. It might be who the coworker is, I'm not sure.
No, it's personal.
The what?
It's personal.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So maybe a personal story.
Yes.
That, I gotcha. Anything else, something else that somebody else had in mind? Food. Okay, sharing food. I like that, that's good. So there's a lot of things we'll share with each other. Now think of this person you looked at, what is something you absolutely would not share with them? You don't care who they are, they're your best coworker, you would not share with them. Raise your hand. Somebody else?
My PIN to my debit card?
Okay, your PIN to your debit card, that's a great one. How many of you would, out of curiosity, how many of you would share your paycheck? My whole point here is that sharing is great, and there is a little bit of truth to Advanced WAF. So I'm here to tell you the truth, or the T as they call it sometimes. The truth about Advanced WAF, this is sort of how you can think of it. So we have our Advanced WAF, this is this new product, and we also had ASM, and we still do have ASM. So what we have in Advanced WAF is everything that's in ASM, all of our features, all of the positive security that we have, for those of you that understand ASM, negative security like signature checking, our layer 7 denial of service protection, which includes proactive bot mitigation, fatal leakage, and all of our OAuth top 10 protection, which is great. That's all part of Advanced WAF. Then we also have another product, WebSafe. I did a presentation on this probably about a year or so ago. Some of you may recall that. And, oh, I'm sorry, jumped ahead. So these are two of the features from ASM, both of which that have been drastically improved in our most recent release, which are very exciting features. Then we got WebSafe. Now WebSafe has a really cool feature called application layer encryption. So what we did is we sort of brought that piece in, we just changed the name, called it DataSafe. It is the same thing, the same feature. We have another product called MobileSafe, comes along with WebSafe. So we brought a little bit of the technology of MobileSafe in, and we called that anti-mobile SDK. You guys have heard of DHD, right? We brought in a couple of our really cool DHD features, which is our behavioral denial of service, analytics, machine learning, and so forth, and upstream signaling. which is being able to redirect traffic to Silverline if we're under an attack. So the truth is, don't tell this to anybody outside the room, okay? It's a secret. We already have all these features. The difference is, we kind of wrap them all up into this one package to sell it as this one tool with all of these great features as a part of it, including coming up some new features. They're not available yet. Our credential stuffing, our threat campaigns, device identification. These are all really cool things. They're going to be add-ons. So not everything comes with it. Some things are subscription-based. Some things are add-ons. But the truth is, we've already had all this technology. Some of it's new, like these things. So that is my explanation of WAF versus Advanced WAF. I'm going to do a demo now. Before I do, and I'm going to do a demo on these two features, brute force protection and data safe. Before I start the demo, does anybody have any questions at this time? Great, let's go on to the demo. So before I start the demo, let's log in here again. Think about your own password, usernames. Think about your own usernames. You've got usernames for work, and you've got usernames for your own personal email. Very interesting thing about work emails, which is a lot of times our username to get into things. I probably can figure out almost anybody's work email in this room. Why is that? Who knows the little convention about our email addresses?
It's all the same thing.
Which is?
Your first initial dot your last name.
First initial dot last name. Well, that's great. That means if I know somebody's email address, I'm halfway there to trying to force my way into their account. So let's take a look at an example of that. So I have a website that we use in a lot of our demos for SEs and so forth. It's called Hackazon. It's kind of like a Amazon site. And I'm going to try to log in. Now, I'm going to pick somebody. Because I'm almost certain that's your email address. Almost certain.
Hopefully you can remember my password, because I can never remember it.
Well, I've heard rumor that you're one of those people that uses a very simple to remember password. Let's take a look, see if that works. Oh, shucks. Didn't work. Well, I could try their variations. That might take me a while, but you know what? I've already created a macro. A macro is something that can run just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if you can see on this screen, what this macro is doing in the first couple lines is it's going to the logon page. It's using r.read at f5.com, and then it's just supplying password after password after password of multiple variations of the word password. And this could be thousands of lines long. So let's see if we can succeed here just by running this. And sometimes it takes a couple of seconds because this could take an hour or two. May never succeed. We may not actually get one of the right passwords, but we're trying, and as you can see at this point, we're not being stuck. Oh, interesting. Looks like we got in. Let's double check under the profile. We got in. So we got into this account, and we could even take a look at orders, wish lists. Looks like Robert's going to be going out to get some styling new clothes soon.
That's all in my grocery.
Now what's also interesting is you'll notice over here, when this macro ran, it said it failed. It failed at line 33. And that's because in order to keep running, it has to be on the logon page. Once we log in successfully, we were no longer on the logon page. So I know that right before line 33, I must have had the right password. So I can go in and take a look again at that macro. You'll notice these line numbers are real easy to see. So there's line 33. So that means right before that, this must be the password that worked. So I'm going to hold that and save it for later. But more importantly, what we have to do is talk about how to fix this, how to solve this problem. And here at F5, of course, we can solve it without a problem. I want to log out real quick, and I want to go back to the login page because I want to show you, if you look up at the top where we've got the URL, that is our login page URL. When we're doing protection for things like brute force, we're going to typically do them at a specific page level, the logon page. So all I need to know is that logon page, which is /user/logon. And I'm going to come over to our fantastic Big IP product. And this is our brute force protection page. I'm going to go ahead and create this. You're going to see how easy this is to create. I'm not doing anything behind the scenes here. I'm going to do this as fresh with you guys in the audience as possible. The first thing I'm going to do is actually select the logon page, which you'll see there is /user/login. Now, only for the purposes of this demo am I going to change this value. This value is the one that says, if somebody is identified as trying to brute force us, this is how long they have to wait before they can try to get back in. The default is 60 minutes. I'm going to change it to 2 minutes again for the purposes of the demo today. And I'm actually going to turn off several features that are enabled by default. So the only thing I'm going to have enabled is up here where it says username. So after 3 failed logon attempts of the same username, the user is going to get what's called an alarm and CAPTCHA. How many of you know what CAPTCHA is? Great, that's actually really good. If you don't know what CAPTCHA is, you're going to see it in just a moment. So all I have to do right now is create this and apply my policy. We always have to apply policies in ASM so that things will take effect. And once that's applied, we can go try our brute force attack again. So here we go again. And just like that, we're presented with a CAPTCHA challenge. This is a CAPTCHA challenge. They're designed to identify if the person is a real human, not the person, if the device is being operated by a real human or by a bot of some sort, which in this case, a macro would be a good example of a bot. Now the thing about these is they're hard to enter sometimes, so I'm going to do my best here because this is case sensitive, and I'm doing this live. And a lot of times I get it wrong the first time. Never helps to have people watching you. There, now we're in. I wanted to show you that because I also wanted to show you what we are now going to see in one of our log files. Log back in here. So we now have this log file entry on the Big IP side. And it's an alerted entry. Remember what we were told to do was alert and CAPTCHA. We can actually see that they were alarmed, I should say alarm. This request had an alarm and a CAPTCHA. We can see the username that was being exploited. And we can see how many times at this point they've tried. In this case, they went over the threshold of 3 by trying it 3 times. So a lot of really cool visibility there. I was expecting a little bit more excitement from that. Now, there's other ways, other types of usernames we have are personal. So I don't know any of your personal usernames for your Gmail or your Yahoo or whatever you've got. But studies have shown that most people's usernames are based on one aspect about them. What do you think that one aspect is for most people? Their name. How many of you raise your hand if your personal username has some element of your own personal name in it? Raise your hand. There you go. Proof's in the pudding. So if I know your name, then maybe I can just try variations of your name. So here's another brute force example, and we're going to try to brute force me this time. So somebody has found out my password at work. It's terrible. They found out my password is this. But they're not sure what my personal username is for my Bank of America and so forth. So they're going to try to brute force my personal account. So what they're doing here is They've got their macros set up to first try cman, then chman, then chrman, and again, this could be thousands of lines long, just every possible combination of my first name, my last name, and other symbols and so forth. And I have a question before I run this. Do you suppose our brute force protection we've set up is going to stop this? Yes or no? I see a no. If no, why not?
You only set up for the password, I thought.
I'm sorry?
I thought you only set it up for password, not username.
It was set up for username.
You're trying different usernames, so it wouldn't know.
It was set up for one username. If it recognized somebody trying to brute force the same username, like r.read@fi.com over and over again, it was going to block it. This is not the same username. So let's try that. So now you can see it's going in and trying all these different variations. Same thing applies. If I succeed, and I know exactly what line item we're going to fail at, the macro, and we'll have all the information we need. Again, we're in, and we can see the username. Remember that? So here's another scenario that we need to solve, another scenario we need to fix, and no surprise, we can do that inside that same profile. Right inside this same brute force profile, you remember I turned a couple things off. Well, I'm going to go back and turn on this one for IP address. Now that says, if we see multiple login failures from the same IP address, that will also be considered a brute force attack. We're going to change this to 7 just for the sake of the demo. And instead of alarm and CAPTCHA, I'm actually going to change this. We can actually just block them. Straight out block them. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. Again, it's as simple as that. Saving it and applying the policy. The longest part is just waiting for the policy to apply. And then as soon as that's done, I'll log out and try to run the macro again. You may recall that we set up for 7 fails. So within about 7, we should see that we're now immediately blocked. The malicious person says, what's that? What happened? Let me stop that and let me try that again. You notice now, right away, I don't understand. Why can't I? So now they're just going to go straight right to the URL. They're not going to try to run the macro. Let me just go right to the login URL. They can't even get to the login URL because they are now blocked for that duration that I set, which I had changed to 2 minutes, as you may recall. So these are 2 new aspects of our brute force protection, which was drastically increased in our most recent release. Drastically increased and improved, I should say, drastically improved. I think these features are amazing, and I'm very excited about it. Now, I'm going to move on to our second part of the demo. Anyone have any questions about this part of the demo? If you like it, clap. I'm not trying to get applause for me. I said I want to know if you like the product, clap, so I assume that was for the product. Yes?
How hard is to build the macro?
Say it again?
How hard is to build the macro that you use?
I would say somebody who has minimal skills. In fact, the thing about building macros in Firefox is you actually can just use a record button. I can just go in, I'll show you real quick here. You'll see how easy it is. Let me go to Yahoo. Say I wanted to slam them. I can just come over here, click on record, and then just start doing things. And you'll see that it's actually building the macro for me just based on what I'm doing. So it's actually not hard at all. But where it comes more tricky is when you're trying to really manually modify it. But I'm only semi-smart and I was able to figure it out. So
The more advanced hackers, will use other.
they are very, very savvy. In fact, I forgot your tagline, which is that the tools that they have are becoming so much more intelligent. So much more intelligent. There's so many hacking tools out there and ways to deceive people. This is another good reason for us to have this new great product so that we can stay on top of them. Before I do the next part of the demo, I'm just going to actually remove the brute force protection. I'm only doing that. We can keep it on there, but it's not gonna let me go to my logon page because I just locked myself out of my logon page. So in order to do the next part, I'm gonna actually just remove that protection. And let's go back over here to my login page. I'm going to show you a few flaws. Now, everything we just saw was protecting inbound requests. The hacker was on the outside, we're on the inside. All those requests are trying to come from the internet, come inbound. Everything else I'm going to show you are vulnerabilities that exist right inside of our own web browser that really have nothing to do with the server we got it from. Once this comes to my page, the server's done until I click on another button and send more requests to the server and back. But all of these vulnerabilities we're going to look at are problems that are right inside of our browser. And this all has to do with malware. So again, I did a website presentation quite a while ago. Malware is really the culprit here. So let's take a look at some of the vulnerabilities that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to inspect this username or email field. This is a technique that's so easy to do, and hackers know about it. And all I'm really looking for as a hacker is the name of this field. There it is. The name of the field is called username. Let's see if I can get the name of the password field. And the name is password. Knowing this kind of information, knowing the name of fields, and knowing about forms and how they're set up, that makes it extremely easy to build malware against this page. So that's a huge vulnerability. Now there's something else I'm going to show you. Let's go back and test r.read again. I'm going to put in his correct password this time. Hopefully that'll work.
Feel free to buy me something.
There we go. All right, we have a set of tools that are used to do bad things that hackers use. Sorry, I'm just trying to move this down. There we go. One of them is stealing the password. So I put in my username and my password. I haven't clicked on sign in yet. What I want to show you here is when I click on steal password and I put my mouse over this, we get this little pop-up and it says, your password is this. This is just proof that with an application, any kind of little app that's running in here can grab that. So there's something running in the browser, it can get that, and then it could potentially send that to someone. We also have what are called keyboard logging programs. Here's what a keyboard logging program looks like. I'm going to start my keylogger here, and I'm going to start typing in my password. You'll notice up there at the very top, it's capturing all the letters that I type. So a keyboard logging program is something else that can be running on our computer maliciously, capturing everything we type. And so hackers can use that to figure out what our password might be by looking at strings of code that maybe we've done repeatedly. They don't do this manually. They use tools to do all of this for them. And then the last one I'm going to show you here, I'm going to put in the right password again, is now I'll actually sign in. Now I've submitted this. Now the request has gone all the way to the server and it's come all the way back. And I just want to show you what we can see about this request when I go look at one of my pages. I'm going to find this in here. Just a second. There it is. So I can see in clear text, what the fields were that I just submitted. If I can see it in clear text, that means malware can see it in clear text. And one of the main things malware does when it gets this is it sends it to the hacker. So that's how hackers get credentials. Outside of brute force, they get it through malware. So we have our new solution for this. This is our data safe solution. Now I've already built a database, data safe profile. I just haven't applied it to the server yet here. And I just want to point out a couple of things, and then we'll go look at the results. But everything on data safe is also URL based. So you'll notice this data safe profile is only protecting that same login page we were looking at earlier. Also, I've already got it set up for the two fields that we saw, username and password. We had to add these in our profile, and we have different options for these different fields. So for example, I'm encrypting both. I'm using a substitute value for the password field, and I'm obfuscating both. What the hell does that mean? That's the most complicated word. So let's go and attach this profile to the virtual server that we were using throughout this whole demonstration. It's as simple as this. Boom, enabled, boom, there's my profile. Just need to update it. Already updated. So now let's go ahead and log out. I don't know what that is. Sorry. And ignore that. Now I'll go back to my login page. Sorry. There we go. All right, so first, let's go back and we'll right-click inside of our username field. Take a look at it. Let's take a look what the name of this field is. The name is now this strangely long string, and you'll notice if you watch, it ends in 714, right? E714. No, it doesn't. It ends in ADDD. It's actually changing the name dynamically, so when a hacker comes in and they're going to try to exploit this, they have no idea what the name of that field is, and they can't create a malware. Like the other one, put it on reads. All right, I'm running out of time here. One last thing. Let's show the stealing the password. So now the malware still worked. It was still able to grab my password. But you'll notice that's not the password I put in. That's some other gibberish. So that's what the substitute value just did. It basically created a fake password to protect my password. The other couple of things will also be protected. Actually, I'll do one last here. Let me log in. This will just take a second. We'll sign in. We'll come over here, take a look at that page. And why did that work? Oh, always under pressure. So now, when I look at that same page, and I look at those parameters that we saw last time, now, remember last time it said username equals rread@f5.com. Password equals, now I don't even see the name of the fields, username or password, and I don't see the values of those fields. This is what the hacker is now going to get when the malware sends their information to them. And as you can see with both of these, I solved this in literally seconds. This is just a little bit of what the new WAF, Advanced WAF, is going to be able to do for our customers, which I think is very, very exciting. Any last questions for any of you about Advanced WAF, about me? I hope you all enjoyed it. Come see me if you have more questions. You know I love talking about this stuff. Have a great day.